Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames Podcast. It is episode 60, and it is Monday, December 11th, 2023. I'm Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
You can catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow, like, subscribe, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, and we always appreciate it, as I say. Got some big news on this one.
The day has come. Shohei Ohtani has signed. Yamamoto's got a meeting today. We've got some trades to talk about, and the free agency market is bound to heat up now that Ohtani is off the board.
Yeah, the biggest fish is off the board, and boy, was it a large statement made with the team that signed him. So,
very, very true.
Yeah, we'll get right into that.
All that and more. Stay tuned to the 9 Frames Podcast. Moving on over to the news now, and Shohei Ohtani has signed the two-time and reigning unanimous MVP of the American League. Moving on over to the National League, but staying in Los Angeles as he puts on Dodgers blue threads. They have been the favorites since the beginning of the sweepstakes, and they came through.
Yeah, we said that it probably made a lot of sense for him to just stay in LA, given that the Dodgers are typically good. I mean, I don't remember the last time they weren't. And the only thing that he has left on his list that he wanted to do was to win a World Series. So he's going to a team that's a perennial playoff team. They've got a stacked top four in their lineup between Betts, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Will Smith.
And that's to mention, then you got guys like Muncy coming up next, and Kike
Lux.
Hernandez, Gavin Lux, yeah.
Chris Taylor. Like, their team is very good already, and I don't think they're done. So, yeah, he signs to the Dodgers for 10 years, $700 million.
Yeah, you heard that correctly if you're listening. 10 years, $700 million, an average annual value of $70 million. It has been reported that this is going to be the most grotesquely deferred deal of all time. Not sure what that means in terms of how much money, but when you think about it, $70 million on the book to one guy is an insane amount of money.
Yeah, and like we were just talking about it before we started, I don't even know, because even if they're deferring, $25 million a year, they're still paying the guy $55 a year.
That is unheard of, too.
To only DH, because he will not pitch this year.
No, only for this year, yeah.
Well, we don't know, dude.
As of right now, his agent has said the full plan is to pitch again.
I'm sure his plan is, but he's undergone his second Tommy John surgery of his life already before 30. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of money. Obviously, he's the best player in the world when he's healthy, but the thing is, he might never be fully healthy again.
Yeah, no way to know. I think he will be, personally.
I hope he is.
Yeah, this is a deal that's going to make them a lot of money as well. I've seen that. They're going to have so much international deals. This is one of the most internationally marketable players of all time. Probably the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either him or, I'd say maybe Ichiro. He was up there.
Everybody loved Ken Griffey Jr. when
Hideki
he was
Matsui.
playing. So, but I mean, this is the guy. Everyone loves him. Whenever he plays somewhere on the road, it's like a party is coming to the city. So, I mean, it's special to get, and the Dodgers get their guy for 10 years. When news came out last week that negotiations were well above $500 million, I was thinking like $550, $600. 700 is not a number I thought we would be saying maybe ever in professional baseball.
I wonder how close other teams were too. What was the other max offer of another team that the Dodgers had to be pushed to $700 million? There had to be another team. I would assume maybe the Giants or the Cubs that were willing to go to $650, and then when he got to $7, I mean, they were like, hell no, dude, that's crazy.
It's a tough race to fall out of because everybody wants that guy so bad. But I don't think even the guys who have a checkbook like this that can pay this don't want to most of the time.
It hurts.
Yeah, this is an insane contract. But like we said, Ohtani, the two-time and reigning unanimous MVP, you want to add him to your team no matter what the cost is.
Yeah, I mean, from the baseball standpoint, he's going to make your team a lot better when he's playing. Which, I mean, even if he slots in at DH, he's going to be one of the better hitters in the league, as we've seen. But like you just mentioned, from the business standpoint of it, he's going to make them a lot of money.
Definitely.
I mean, people rush to the concession stands to buy his shirt.
It really is like a convention is coming to town when Ohtani comes to town. People are visiting from all over just to see him play. and that's going to happen. It's going to be like a tour now that he's a Dodger. He's a Hollywood star.
Yeah, and he's staying relatively close to where he already was, where his fan base was.
Right.
So they're not going to be too far away. The original people that have seen him for the last 6 years, the Angel fans.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, like you said, 6 years. He posted a long post thanking them for those 6 years. And the most wild thought is that he will, at the end of this contract, have 6 years in Angels red and 10 years in Dodger blue.
Unless he gets traded somewhere, but there
Which
is
would
a
be-
full no-trade clause.
And that would also be the most insane trade. If Shohei Ohtani ends up getting traded from the Los Angeles Dodgers one day, that's going to be some news.
I'm assuming there's a full no-trade clause. I haven't actually seen that, but what I did see is that there are no opt-outs over the 10 years, so he's here. This is his team.
Details on the actual money yearly aren't out yet, and the deferrals aren't out yet either, so we keep a close eye on that because it's going to be, again, the most unique and interesting contract we've seen in professional baseball.
Yeah, so congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers who came into it as the front runners, and they leave with the best player in the world now on their team. They now have 3 of the top 4 players that finished in WAR last year. So the Dodgers are going to be scary next year, as they always are. It's nothing new. They just have more firepower now.
Going to be really fun to watch them next year, and it was wild because this is a team that always got the late slot on MLB Network, so don't expect that to change. They're going to be on there every night.
All of these players just to try to defeat Corbin Carroll and the Snakes, and they just couldn't do it anyway.
We'll see if they could do it this year now that they got Ohtani to take on the now second-year Corbin Carroll of the defending National League champion Diamondbacks. Keeping it on over with Dodger news now, sort of. J.D. Martinez seems to be ousted due to this Shohei Ohtani deal now that they have him to play full-time DH.
As you'd assume, yeah, there's not really much of a spot for JD back in LA anymore.
Pretty wild, though. J.D. Martinez batted cleanup in last year's All-Star game as a Dodger, and he will now have to find a new team. The Angels are an obvious possibility. Among many others are the Mariners, Mets, and D-backs. Apparently, the D-backs right now, according to Bob Nightingale, are hopeful to sign JD along with Justin Turner as a possibility.
A little reunion back in the desert for JD. Remember how good he was? He had the 4-homer game as a Diamondback against the Dodgers in LA. So
it would be cool to see him on that team. Me personally, as a Met fan, would really love him filling in that DH spot. Can't get more consistent.
JD's had some great years, but I gotta say that's one of the places I'd say he just looked the most comfortable was when he was with Arizona for that half season. I mean, he ripped it up. I think he had 20+ homers with them in like a 2-month span. He was going crazy.
JD's the type of guy that could do that too. He could really catch fire. So one of these teams is going to get a phenomenal DH, one of the best you can get. Obviously came in second this year, I believe. I mean, either second or third, but he was a finalist for National League DH Silver Slugger.
Yeah, I mean, he's always going to be one of the better options until he's done playing at the DH spot, much like Nelson Cruz was until this last year, and he played until he was, 42?
Right.
But JD's got, what is he, 36, 37? He's got some years left in the tank as a designated hitter in this league.
Speaking of aging players who are great at swinging, the D-backs, like I said, also hopeful that they could possibly bring in Justin Turner. Can't go wrong with that. He had a really good year for Boston.
He had a great year for Boston. Played a lot of games, too.
And the D-backs looking to do these couple of moves coming off a National League championship and also signing Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah, nice to fill in the rotation a little bit more. As we saw, that was probably their biggest weakness in the playoff run, that they only had 2 concrete starting pitchers, and then they were going with rookie Brandon Pfaadt for the third, who ended up being fantastic for them in a lot of the games. Almost all of his starts, he looked really, really good.
I would really love to see the D-backs be aggressive this offseason and make moves for guys like this. Make that NL West a competition now that Ohtani's over there. It could be a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And I mean, I wouldn't. The Giants are still going to be aggressive. I don't think they're gonna get somebody.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on the West, and we'll keep our eye on J.D. Martinez. But moving it on over to New York, technically, we're staying in L.A. because the Yankees will meet with Yoshinobu Yamamoto today in Los Angeles, and a decision is coming soon from him. So this could be a make-or-break day for the Yankees in terms of getting him.
Yeah, and apparently Hal Steinbrenner will be in attendance for that meeting. Yeah, this is really what it's going to come down to. I mean, we think that it's between the Mets and the Yankees. I'm not counting out teams like Boston.
Even the Dodgers.
The Dodgers are apparently still in on them. I'm definitely not counting out the Giants because they were supposed to be uber aggressive for either Ohtani or Yamamoto, and Ohtani's gone. So maybe they shift fully to Yamamoto to, if not anything else, drive his price up. We see teams do that all the time. So maybe somebody just did that with the Dodgers and Ohtani. We have no idea because
Very
everything
true.
was so secretive.
Kind of seems like that did happen in terms of the Blue Jays being used as leverage,
Well,
kind of getting a couple leaks out there.
I just can't, in my right mind, believe that the Blue Jays would have offered more than $500 million.
I mean,
can't.
if it's more than 500, it can't be more than 600.
I don't
That's crazy.
think it was the Blue Jays that were the next team, like in terms of AAV.
Interesting to think about who it would be. Maybe the Giants, maybe the Yankees, maybe the Mets.
But
Not
yeah,
sure.
Yamamoto is probably the next big fish off the board. I feel like he's going to sign this week.
Yeah, same. I think he even said before Christmas is what is like.
He doesn't have many days after Christmas.
No, that is very true. Only like a week or so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll be coming soon. I think it's worth noting that the Mets camp took a trip all the way to Japan to go visit Yamamoto. The only one to have done that I have seen so far, but the Yankees will be going and meeting with him in Los Angeles, meeting halfway.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see if that helped.
Not
The
sure
Mets.
if that's a make or break, but
I doubt
it's
it
a
is.
nice gesture.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's nice for to see a team put in the extra effort to come all the way across the world to see you. We'll see if it played a factor. I mean, they sent Kodai Senga as a translator, so I'm sure he had nothing but good things to say about the Mets from this last year, considering Senga was amazing for them.
Yeah. A lot of pressure on the Yankees front office to get that deal done because I do see their fans are being quite rabid online for them.
Yeah, they always do that shit, though.
That is true. They want their
They're never
guys.
happy.
They want to win.
Oh, yeah, they just got Juan Soto 3 days ago, dude. Shut up.
Fair enough. Sticking on in with the AL East, the Red Sox get Tyler O'Neill, the versatile outfielder who has been dealing with injuries for the last couple of years, from the Cardinals, for right-handed reliever Nick Robertson and a minor league right-handed starter, Victor Santos. A lot of people forget what happened the first week of the season between Tyler O'Neill and the Cardinals manager. I'm not sure if you remember. Do you
I remember they got into a little bit of a beef, and it got him on the schneid for basically
Yeah.
the whole year.
O'Neill got thrown out at home really early on in the season by Acuna. And Marmol, the manager for the Cardinals, went and publicly called him out in the media, said it was a unacceptable amount of effort, and then, like you said, even benched him a game. O'Neill responded back and said that's unprofessional to do it publicly. It's a lot of backlash, and O'Neill had to spend the rest of the year there. Didn't seem like a comfortable pairing for the rest of the year, and now he is going on over to Boston.
Yeah, I like the deal for both teams. I mean, the O'Neill relationship, like we just said, in St. Louis was damaged this year, so he's been really good in the past. His 2021, he played 138 games for the Cardinals. He slashed .286 with a .352 on base and a .560 slugging with 34 bombs and 80 RBI. And he does play a Gold Glove type caliber outfield.
Two-time Gold
He
Glover,
has
yeah.
two of them, yeah. So
And in 21 there, that season that you just broke down, he finished 8th in NL MVP.
yeah, and
So,
that's just 2 years ago, man.
That's
Like
a season. He has been dealing with injuries over the past two, but I mean, and his numbers have dipped a little accordingly. He's only played 168 games over the last two, slashing .229, .310 with a .397 slugging, 23 homers and 79 RBIs over those 2 seasons, playing left and center field. So a bit of a dip, but I don't mind Boston getting him to intricate him into the everyday lineup.
Yeah, I mean, if he could stay healthy, you'll definitely take a Gold Glove caliber outfielder that can potentially give you 34 and 80. I mean, if he's even 3/4 of that guy, and
Yeah.
and he gives them 20 and we'll say 65, that's a good year with the defense he plays, and that trade will definitely be worth it for the Red Sox.
Underrated speed as well for the guy. He is a phenomenal fielder out there, covers a lot of ground, and usually an aggressive base runner, not that first week of the season, and it kind of destroyed his relationship with the Cardinals, which is wild after so much time given to the organization.
Yeah.
And who do the Cardinals get back? They do have a lot of depth in the outfield, but they are looking for more pitchers, so they get a couple arms. They get Nick Robertson, who pitched for the Dodgers last year. He was traded in the Kike Hernandez deal. He combined for a 0-1 record, 6.04 ERA in 22 and a third innings. And then Victor Santos, the minor leaguer, did not pitch in 2023 due to recovering from Tommy John surgery. But in 2022, between AA and AAA, he went 10 and 12 with a 4.97 ERA, 145 innings pitched, 126 Ks, 34 walks, and 23 homers allowed. So, I mean, there's some work to do for those guys.
Yeah, like I said, I still like the deal for both. I mean, I don't know exactly when O'Neal's a free agent, but it has to be upcoming, and they weren't going to pay him. I mean, they're not going to try to keep him back with what happened last year. So getting anything for him is probably the right move. And I like the deal. I think it's good for both sides.
Yeah, the big piece of this deal will be Robertson, who will end up going straight into that Cardinal pen and trying to make an impact next season.
Yep.
Speaking of bullpen pitchers, Will Smith, the only player to have won 3 straight World Series with 3 different teams. He will be going to another new team, the Kansas City Royals. That is a 1-year, $5 million deal, and I like it, man. He led Texas in saves at 22 last year. The next player had 4 with Leclerc and Chapman, but he did end up struggling down the stretch, and he had a 4.40 ERA and a 106 whip in 57 and a third innings pitched.
The 106 whip's not terrible, but the ERA got a little bit inflated there. That means that what that tells me is he struggled to keep the ball in the park a little bit. But hey, maybe that makes the Royals 2024 World Series favorites. They got the Will Smith charm.
They certainly got the charm. They are a team on the rebuild, and they do have a lot of talent there. They got that Bobby Wood Jr., an absolute stud.
They are not winning the 2024 World Series.
No, but I mean, baseball is a long season, and this is also a long offseason that they might not be done in.
And we saw what the Royals did with Chapman last year, so they could flip Will Smith to a contender at the deadline, and his dream could live on.
That could actually be exactly what ends up happening here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Very true, but yeah, he will be moving on over to Kansas City. Should be interesting to see how that pairing ends up. Another signing here, Austin Hedges will be moving on over to Cleveland for the Guardians. $4 million deal for 1 year. 9 years in the MLB, he is a 189 hitter with 67 home runs and 223 RBI, not ERA, excuse me. He's not known for his bat.
No.
He's a phenomenal defender and a field general, and up until last year, he was a positive WAR guy, so he's above average most of his career. Can't go wrong with it, but $4 million is a lot of money for a defensive guy.
Yeah, I mean, not really anymore, though. When you see Shohei Ohtani get 70 a year, I mean, $4 million is like spare change these days, apparently. I think it's a little bit too much, to be honest with you, because Austin Hedges, I'm not going to trash on the guy. He doesn't really hit much at all. He reminds me a lot of Jeff Mathis.
That is very fair.
He plays phenomenal defense, but he's really not going to contribute. And I just feel like a lot of the time, with the way that Major League Baseball is now, you just really don't need a guy like that.
Yeah, you'd think
because you could find somebody else that could play.
Yeah,
that could play decent defense and be able to hit a little bit, you know? Like, he was a negative 1.1 WAR last year.
Yeah, that's what took him
That's bad.
Under the positive mark, yeah. He had a rough year last year, but it also was a short year for him. Didn't play a lot of games. Should be interesting to see how he fills into this new role.
That might be why,
Guardians.
though.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, do the Guardians still have Roberto Perez? Like, is Austin Hedges the backup, or is he going there? He's not going there to be the starter. Surely not.
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
not too familiar with the Guardians, but
I think they still have Roberto Perez, but we'll have to look into it.
I'm assuming he's the backup.
That's a good couple of defensive catchers they have there.
And I guess that's what they're going for, because if Roberto can even learn some more from Hedges, him being a 9-year vet.
Yeah.
And, all right, we'll take it on over to a manager. We haven't talked about managers in a while
because they all been filled.
Yeah, they all got hired right away at the end of the season there. Several teams are expressing strong interest in Red Sox manager Alex Cora, per Bob Nightingale. He's
not surprising.
Free agent after this season. Should be very interesting to see what happens with him next year.
Yeah, it was really funny. Remember when that whole cheating scandal happened with the Astros? He was on the bench. He got suspended for... also, he did it with the Red Sox. I don't think anybody cares that much because Alex Cora is just straight up a really good manager.
Yeah, I know. He's a phenomenal manager.
Like, he doesn't need to cheat to be good, so I'm not really sure why he did. He's
more of an organizational thing.
I guess,
that's
but
the thing.
Not really, though, because if he got in trouble for it in 2017 with the Astros, then he won the World Series in 2018 with the Red Sox.
He might have personally brought that over. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But like, he doesn't
enough.
need to because he is a great manager, and he's shown that he is a good manager. So I don't know why.
World Series are hard to win.
Very much so. Yeah,
that's why he does goes about it like that.
I suppose that's why anybody would ever cheat. You know, it's hard to win, and they want to win.
Should be super interesting to see if he ends up in some new threads. I don't know why. I just didn't picture him leaving the Red Sox. So it should be interesting to see who is even these teams that are interested.
Yeah,
don't
and
really
I mean,
like reports like that when you don't know what.
I was
team.
going to say that's very vague to say several teams when everybody has managers already, because like some of those managers must be looking around like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
Who's cheating on their manager right
What do you
now?
mean?
Somebody's cheating on their manager, and that's not good, man.
Several teams.
Yeah, for sure. Should be super interesting to see if Alex Cora ends up putting on some new threads, but I think it'll depend a lot on how the Red Sox do this year.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, I mean, another story that we saw that's very surprising, like the Alex Cora news, that he might end up in new threads. The Brewers. Everybody thought that they were going to end up trading Corbin Burns, but now all signs are pointing to them keeping him instead of dealing him. I don't know if that just means for like the first part of the season to the deadline.
Right.
Maybe they'll think to trade him at the deadline, but as for right now, per Bob Nightingale, he says that the Brewers have no intention of trading Corbin Burns, and he will be a Brewer at the beginning of 2024.
Not sure why the Brewers organization keeps doing this to Corbin Burns.
Yeah, they really seem like they mess with him specifically a lot.
Don't get me wrong. If me and you are seeing all these reports about he's going there, he's going here, of course Corbin Burns sees it. And that feels awful. He's given his all to this organization. He's a Cy Young Award winner. Put some respect on the guy's name.
And don't forget what they just did to Brandon Woodruff, who's hurt. I mean, they just cut him.
Legitimately shed tears in October for this organization and then gets cut.
Yeah, because they didn't want to pay him when he's hurt.
Pretty ridiculous, man. But if that's how the Brewers want to run right now, they want to be super inconsistent. Their guys are going. Stearns is gone. It's a lot of uncertainty over there.
That's not really how you build free agent rapport either, by
just
treating your players kind of poorly.
Just brought in a guy from their organization, too, that's supposed to be trusted.
Yeah.
How can you trust someone when they just keep, the way that they've talked about their players was everybody's available. No, they're not available. We're going to keep them. They're going to leave.
I wonder if David Stearns was still with the Brewers, if that's different. I think he might have traded Corbin Burns.
I also don't remember all of these leaks with the Brewers when Stearns was there either.
Yeah, I think he actually might have traded him this offseason if he was still there. And unfortunately, since he moved on to the Mets, now Corbin Burns has to stay in Milwaukee for another year or maybe half year.
Phenomenal pitcher with that great cutter. It'll be interesting to see if the Brewers decide to move him, but also the Brewers are a playoff team, man.
That's what I was going to say. It also very much probably it will most likely depend on how their season goes. If they're a fourth place team around the deadline, there's no reason to hang on to them.
It's so weird. It's been a really weird feeling. I feel like since the season has ended, since the World Series has ended, we've been talking about the Brewers like they just finished in fourth. They're talking about we're going to do a fire sale. Yeah. Everybody's available. Call us up. We'll just trade you Yelich.
As if they didn't win their division and win 90 games.
And it was pretty handily, man, by the end of it. They went on a nice little run. It's a good team. Don't understand it. Simply don't understand it.
I don't either, but hey, we don't get paid to understand it, I guess.
There you go. And our last little point of this episode occurred right before we started recording. The Yankees and the Dodgers, the two big boys. They make an infield prospect swap as the Yankees get Jorbit Vivas, the Dodgers' number 10 prospect, and a left-hand reliever in Victor Gonzalez. And the Dodgers get Trey Sweeney from the Yankees' number 8 prospect. Pretty big.
Yeah, it's a little minor league deal. The prospect deals are interesting because, I mean, how much can you really know about them?
I wouldn't be the thing about Vivas and Sweeney, those two names, they're names that you kind of think is inevitable we're going to see them get some MLB.
Victor Gonzalez has been in the majors already.
Yes, but like I'm saying, those two guys are going to have some major league at-bats coming up one way or another, and now they have moved across the country to where that will be.
Yeah, that is quite the lengthy move. That's literally as far as you can go, I would assume.
If you want to not talk distance, how about the culture, man? Yeah. You're going from the Dodgers to the Yankees. I mean, pretty wild for those young men. It got to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Super interesting. Going to be keeping our eye on those prospects as always. That was the baseball news over the weekend. Thank you, as always, for watching and listening wherever you do. This was episode 60 of the 9 Frames podcast, and it is Monday, December 11th, 2023. I have been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there, subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, and share if you enjoyed the show today.
Yeah, we appreciate the support, and we definitely see you guys when you show it. And I mean, this is just the first domino of what could happen to be a pretty crazy offseason in the MLB. Very shifting. Like, the whole league seems to be shifting a little bit.
The industry as a whole, I mean, professional sports were shaken when this deal was signed. 10 years, $700 million for Shohei Ohtani.
Unbelievable.
And Shohei Ohtani as a Los Angeles Dodger is a sentence we can say with full faith it is true.
Yep, and it won't be any different for at least the next decade unless both parties agree to go another direction. So,
we discussed that. We talked about a couple of trades, a couple of signings, and that Yamamoto deal is coming soon, folks. Keep your eye on that. Should be, I think personally, the most interesting story going forward until the next month when he's got to sign.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode, and also hope you guys all enjoyed the weekend.